This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas. Magazine publisher and entrepreneur Judith Mancini is sharing captivating conversations with experts in their field about the latest trends in our ever-changing world to help you become healthy, wealthy, and wise. Judith Mancini today will spark your interest and inspire you to lead your best life ever. And now, here's Judith.
Hey, hello everybody. Wow, we have a lot going on in our country, don't we? It's just amazing to me. I just want to make a public service announcement here. President Biden will be giving a news conference this afternoon, this early evening. It will be at 3:30 Pacific time and 5:30 Eastern time. Who knows what he's going to talk about? He doesn't do too many pressers and he doesn't answer too many questions. So it should be interesting. And I urge you, because of the coming election and what's going on, speaking of removing people from ballots and adding people to ballots and all, I urge you to listen to this presser. So again, it's at 3:30 Pacific, 5:30 Eastern. It's always a little bit late, and I'm sure you can find it on any place on your TV or your Roku or streaming or whatever, because it's going to be a very important one, I hope. And the other thing I want to tell you is, because we live in California and the majority of my listeners are in California, although I have them all over the country and actually in parts of the world also. But California now is experiencing this extreme heat, and the fires are starting early this year. The wildfires, there's a terrible one just north of the Santa Barbara area and all. It's called the Lake Fire. And the stormy parts of blowing from the fire creating the winds, as well as some wind blowing, and our extremely high temperatures are causing it to spread. And already it has over 20,000 acres burning. And there's lots of smoke and cinders in the air. So if you're urged to evacuate, evacuate. On the other hand, look at what's happening in the East and the Midwest. Hurricanes, tornadoes, flooding. Do you think somebody is trying to tell us something? I don't want to say who that somebody is, but if you're a believer, I think maybe you might agree with me. Something is going on with this extreme weather. So that's my opinion. Now, I also want to talk about some of the other things that are going on. I don't know what your opinion is, but what would happen if they tried to replace Joe Biden on this ballot? First of all, there's only one person who could gain anything from the money that's already been raised for Joe Biden. You know, I'm not a Democrat. I'm just telling you facts here, people, so you can make up your own mind. All of that money, including what George Clooney raised the other night, all those millions, the only person who could take advantage of it would be Kamala if she is put into the race running for president. She can't get it running for vice president, okay? And if they put somebody else in, say, Michelle, who is adamant about not running, but if they put Newsom in, who would destroy the country like he destroyed California, then he couldn't get that money. So who would be able to get the money? And believe me, it takes a lot of money to run for office, particularly national office. With all of this going on, the Republicans are going, because all of this is going to affect the down ballot. The down ballot are all the seats that are open or being contested in Congress, in the House of Representatives, or the Senate. So they're upset about that, and they wish that the party heads would make up their mind what they're going to do. But guess what's happening next week? The Republican convention. I don't usually talk about politics all the time, although I'm very interested in it. I'm sure a lot of you are interested in it too. It is our country, and we do have something to say about how it is run. So it would be interesting for you to tune in to the parts of the convention, the Republican convention. It will be interesting to see what they talk about, what they do. It's not just playing songs like the grand old party. It's hoopla. The delegates actually have to stand up and say who their votes are pledged to. It's a very interesting thing. So I urge you to watch that. And then I definitely urge you to continue being involved in politics and watch the Democrat convention a little later on, because that is going to be really fascinating. Okay, so we have Jeff with us today. I said it wrong. We have him with us. He is a return guest. He has come on before with his books. He's a very creative person. He's a retired police officer. He has gone into writing books and music since he was very, very young. And then he discovered he could publish them. So he has been publishing books, and now he's publishing this album. I guess he's published some other things I'm not aware of. But today we're talking about his Patriotic album. And I am going to play one of his songs. I'm only going to play it halfway through because we actually wanted to talk to Jeff as well and have him talk about who collaborated with him on this album. So we are going to play in just a moment. Juan will put on the song, The Promise of Freedom. I love every song on this album. I haven't had a chance to listen to it all the way through. I've listened to bits and pieces of it, and it's fantastic. So if you will, Juan, plug that in and let's listen to it.
From the mountains to the seas, our flag waves on high, a symbol of our unity beneath the open sky. Through trials and tribulations, we've weathered every storm. Injustice shall not conquer, into freedom we are born. Truth will prevail, our flag will stand true. The promise of freedom under the red, white, and blue. With hearts full of courage, eyes full of light, we'll rise up together and show them our might. For promise of freedom is our God-given right. Every face a story of strength and liberty, a land where dreams are woven, where every soul is free. The flame of hope ignited in the hearts of the brave. Injustice may confront us, but freedom we will save. Truth will prevail, our flag will stand true. The promise of freedom under the red, white, and blue. With hearts full of courage, eyes full of light, we'll rise up together and show them our might. For promise of freedom is our God. and demons abound, God's shield will protect us and crush them all down. Truth will prevail, our flag will stand true. The promise.
Well, isn't that fabulous? It makes you want to kind of dance along to it and shout out to it. And it also brings tears to my eyes when I'm listening to all these words. I'm a real patriot. And when I hear these fabulous things, I think it's just such a great thing that we have new patriotic songs coming out so that they can be played everywhere. Now, let's talk to Jeff Bonilla about how he decided to do this. Welcome, Jeff.
Hi, Judith. How are you? Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. I love having you as a guest. Jeff has been our guest before when he had his books being released, and that was really something. So that was about his career in the police department and quitting the police, retiring from the police. I shouldn't say quitting, retiring from the police. So he's had a very interesting career background. Tell us all about this album. I'm going to let you talk for a minute. You had some people collaborating with you. Tell us how you got the idea to do these patriotic songs and what you're thinking when you did them. And I just think they're fabulous. I'm glad they've been released.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it grew organically. And by that, I mean, the night that they convicted Trump, the 34 bogus, whatever they made up. Me and my friends, we've all been upset with what we see going on in the country. And that kind of was the straw that broke my back when that happened. And I was just like, man, we've really lost this country if they're letting this stuff go on. And I actually had not written a song in over a year. And I just sat down and started writing these lyrics. And the chorus, truth will prevail, our flag will stand true. That's like one of the first things that came through. And I ended up writing what ended up being a chorus. And from there, I ended up writing the whole song. So it wasn't planned. And then I ended up putting it on social media and people started reacting to it. And I have two really good friends that helped on a project. One is also a retired law enforcement. And he heard it and he liked it and he came up with a song. He said, hey, check out this. He and I are actually collaborating on the book. So we've been working together on writing. And he came up with some lyrics and I really like them. And he's a bit of a historian, which is really good when it comes to this particular project. And my other friend, Georgie, she's from South Africa.
Wait. Back up a little bit. You didn't tell everybody his name.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Charles Moss is his name. Retired law enforcement, and we were 18 years old, so 40-something years, 43 years, long time. So our brains are kind of linked, we think very similar. And my other friend, Georgie Donovan, she's from South Africa, and she really it inspired her. She was also very upset about what had happened with Trump, and she was, a Democrat, but had also left the party and realized what was going on. And so she ended up writing the song. And then so all of a sudden we have like three really cool songs. And I'm like, July 4th is coming up. I wonder how many more we could write. And we had planned a vacation in Tahoe, myself and Charles, to work on the book. And we ended up going up there and all we did was music. We didn't work on the book. And we must have written like 20 songs. And then we ended up picking the ones that we liked. And so it was a bit rushed to try to get it out for 4th of July, but it lifted my spirits originally. And I just thought, I know I can't be the only person feeling like this, because especially if you're a patriot and especially like myself, who took an oath, to the Constitution, right? I took that oath and said, and it affects us even more. So,
You saying you took an oath to the Constitution, that was for when you were in law enforcement.
When you're law enforcement, you take the same oath that the military does, which is,
yes,
to defend the country against all,
Did you know this? When I was in between high school and college and becoming a stewardess, I worked for a department store called Buffum's. It was up in the Palos Verdes area. And when we signed our papers to work for them, we had to take a pledge that we were citizens and that we would never do anything harm the United States. I can't remember the wording. That was just in our employment papers.
No,
That's sort of been forgotten all over our country. Who makes a pledge anymore? So,
right.
as you know, I'm a real patriot. So these things really get me, and I'm very interested in your friend who was from South Africa and being touched by this and contributing to it, because they've had their problems down there, and they
Yeah.
are really into freedom and people's
It was,
rights, all of that. So that's interesting.
it was really great to get her perspective from somebody that comes to the United States looking for that land of opportunity and that freedom, and how she, it just, she is now a citizen, and she adopted to she came right when 9/11 happened, and she was just really,
Wow.
that really shook her. But she saw how everybody got together in America. We all became one, and so that was really inspirational to her. So her songs, like she's got a song on there called "Chasing Liberty," which is kind of about her perspective of coming to America and finding a new family here. So it was really great to have her perspective, and shows you that people that come here and immigrate here, they're patriots also.
Sure they
And
are. Yes, absolutely. And my husband is an immigrant. He came here when he was 13 with his family from Italy. And his father had been over here previously working. And then when World War II broke out, he went back to Italy to help defend Italy, and came back again with his family because he had seen what a great country we have. And so they were very patriotic also. It's sort of been lost. My kids are not as patriotic as I am, but being as old as I am, I was raised after World War II, before the Korean War, and the first songs I was raised by my grandmother, and the first songs she taught me on the piano were all of the theme songs of the different branches of service. So
oh wow,
I was raised to be a patriot,
yeah,
and I'm happy I was.
yeah, yeah. And you're right, we don't see much of that anymore. um I mean, I haven't heard too much new patriotic music in a while, and quite a few years. And what's interesting, as we've embarked on this project, we began to use social media to try to get the songs out there, and we would create little videos.
Let's mention what social media pages you're talking about and what they are titled.
Sure. Well, we just went to the usual, Instagram and Twitter, and I signed up on the CCP owned one. uh,
TikTok.
TikTok, right? And what we found is, like, there's a song on the album called "The Glow of Freedom's Light," 1776, and it's historical. It's about what happened in 1776, and about the 4th of July, why we celebrate it. And it got taken down and labeled as misinformation.
Well, because you put it up on the CCP site.
Exactly. But we've been having them.
That's why they took it down.
And it's happened on some other ones where they'll just take the sound off the video. It's really crazy how it's almost like, if you're considered a patriot, or if you have a flag in your profile or anything like that, the AI algorithms that watch all these things, they look at you as, I don't know, a threat. I have no idea what you're
I
considered.
think they're looking at us as threats because I think they're all very liberal that do this. Plus, now that there's AI, they're not even human. I have been tracked because I said the word vaccine one time and YouTube was going to ban me. I've had 2 warnings and 1 more and I'm off. I mean, it's all craziness and it's really bad. And I get warnings all the time. And that's taking away our freedom of speech.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the reasons we wrote this is because of the censorship. You know, we have songs that are historical, and we also have a song called Digital Warriors, which is about how they're censoring us. And it's sort of a tribute to all the people like yourself that are on podcast and other people that are out there telling the truth, you know, guys like Tucker and, you know, Alex Jones and all of them. So there's definitely an assault, you know, on the Second Amendment. There's just many assaults right now.
There's assaults on a lot of the amendments.
Yeah.
Which is very bad. So I truly appreciate this. Now, are you going to become a full-time musician? Or are you going to keep being an author for books?
No, I mean,
You're going to start going around and speaking on stages about the music and.
I've never thought about it that far down the line. I mean, I have a day gig, if you want to call it that. And,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I'm happy with that. And I'll stop now. I was going to say something, but I won't say it.
Why?
Well, it's just one of the things.
I don't censor my guests.
You have to be diplomatic, and no, it's more me censoring myself about, you know, my day gig. Let's put it that way.
Oh.
So, but yeah, so I don't know. I don't know where this will lead. I mean, the hopes, like Georgie's very optimistic. She wanted this to bring people together and, you know, all of us unite, you know, and get patriotic again. And it's really weird, but I have to say, it's feeling like, you know, whatever you want to say, the left, the Democrats, I just don't see that patriotism there. I mean, just when I've posted things on regular Facebook, you'll have people that right away associate you know, being like a cultist with Trump, and it's almost like it's an insult to them to hear a patriotic song. And I'm just like, you know what? I think the divide is so big right now. I don't know if we can bring it together. I don't. I mean, maybe some people are slowly waking up.
That's my worry also. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because, you know, she's very optimistic about it, and both myself, Charles, and I, you know, who've been police officers and seen, you know, a lot of things that go on in the world, we're like, God, I think we're past bridging that divide, but we can try. You know, that's all we can really do.
Well, we have to try.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to live in a country like the CCP wants us to live.
No, and that's exactly what they're trying to do. You know, when you look at everything, there's a song on there called "If I Were the Devil," which is based on the speech that, you know, Paul Harvey gave, you know, many years ago, that "If I Were the Devil." And there's some good lyrics in there, and I think we're in that era of what he was talking about. You know, that's the playbook they're using. So, and it's funny because I don't really want to be political about this, but yes, I am choosing a side, and I am on the side of being a conservative and being a patriot, and that's the way it's going to be. And, you know, there is hope because, like, as I said, Georgia was a Democrat until she met me, you know, and all I said to her was, I pointed out a few things, just like a friend did to me many years ago for the elections when Hillary was involved, and I was trying to decide, you know, because I tend to vote on policies. I've been a Democrat, I've been independent. And I remember I said, are you going to vote for Hillary? Just curious. He's an attorney and, you know, a sharp guy. And he said, I would vote for a tree stump before I voted for her. And I said, oh, why is that? And he goes, do your research. And I went and did the research and then went down a rabbit hole and then another rabbit hole. And once you start going down these holes, you start realizing, oh, wow, there's a lot of things that are not as they seem. And so there's hope. You know, when I talked to Georgie. She thought she was supposed to be a Democrat because democracy. When she came to America, and then she also realized that that doesn't have to be that way. So I think that's the part that people get confused. That I just don't think.
Well,
go ahead.
What struck me with what you just said is you voted on policy and platforms more than the personality of the person running for office. And I think that's what should be. I mean, first of all, we have a president who is not well right now. And it's putting the security of the nation in great jeopardy. But some people think Trump is too bombastic and all of this, and they have this Trump hate syndrome going on. And they're voting for people, not policy or platforms. And that's not how these parties started out. It was not the glamorous person or the person that could be on television with his successful television show, or the person who was married to a president and liked living in the White House and thought she could take over parts of the health, which was not successful at all, and do this. And they get this egotistical thing going on, and people start to hate them, whether it's the Republicans or the Democrats. And they forget about the policies. Now, I've been a Trump supporter forever. I've read his books. I've looked at his businesses and things like that. And I like that. So I heard him say once, long time ago in an interview, would he ever run for president? And he said, only if my country needs me, basically, paraphrasing here.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he did. And that definitely made me want to know more about it and his platforms and everything else. And there's no doubt that our country was better when he was in office than what has happened in the last 3 years. And I'm frightened. My daughter is frightened. Will be 50 with 2 small kids pretty soon. And she's a working mother and married and all, but she called me the other day and she said, Mom, I am getting frightened. We could have a nuclear war. And I said, yeah. So don't vote for Biden. But, we went on, and more people are so frightened about what is going on and not being able to put food on their table and wondering if they're 50 years old or 60 years old and they put this all electric car thing in and they can't afford to go buy a new car because they're retired. What are they going to do with their old car? How can they afford their groceries now? None of this is working, and we're in big jeopardy. So I think they better be very careful, and that's why I'm urging them to listen to the presser tonight, to watch the debate that happened. There's a lot of bad things going on in this country now, and they found terrorists already over here. Another 9/11. It's frightening.
It's not good at all. I always, I meet a lot of people, and when I can tell right away if they have the Trump derangement syndrome. And it's hard when they, I've literally had seen people start trembling when you mention his name.
I know.
But I just try to say, if you ever listen to his speeches, which most of these people have not ever listened to one of his speeches, they're great speeches. And I go back to his inauguration when he said, today we take power away from Washington and we give it back to the people. When he said that, it's like all guns immediately aimed on him. That was, when I heard that did it. It's like, okay, we can't buy this guy. He's not going to play our game, and that was, I think that's when they really decided we need to take him down.
Well, now look at it. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's supposed to be, for the people, by we the people, right? We the people here, that's what I'm wearing here. And it's not that at all. It's by the politicians for themselves at this point. So
Well, I think that's why the Democrats are so worried about Biden now. It's the down ballot. They're seeing that their seats may be gone. And the Republicans may take back the majorities in both houses. That in itself speaks for the people. The people are tired of this. The people are tired of the corruption in Washington.
Yeah.
I
There is a deep state. I can vouch for that.
Well, absolutely. There is a deep state.
Yeah.
And then they bury things like the Hur report where they don't want to release it because Biden just can't stand up to any more questions. Well, that's protecting somebody who shouldn't be in office.
Yeah.
And then we have Kamala. What are we going to do with her? She can't even fulfill the 2 jobs that she had. So she doesn't know anything about foreign policy. I don't know. Where has Biden gone in the world? I have no idea, but I know he's been on those big airplanes many, many times. And you've got Burisma and this and that and everything else. And I just think there's so much corruption going on. So I'm happy that you have the patriotic songs, and maybe we'll wake some people up. I'd like to be able to play your song at the beginning of my show now through election, what we played today. Will you let me do that? You're the copyright guy. Jeff, are you there? You're frozen. Hey, Juan, can we do something with Jeff? Oh boy. Well, people, hang in there. We're going to try to get this fixed. Let's go back and see what's going on. Hello, Juan. I can't believe this. This happened, Jeff, when he was on the other. Keep talking. We're waiting for him to come back. Okay, we're waiting. So there for a minute, I couldn't figure out anything here, and I wasn't sure that people could hear me. So Jeff is a very good patriot. He's also a very good author. And one of the 2 books I've read of his are So You Want to Be a Cop, and he talks about being in law enforcement. It's quite interesting. And it's sort of tongue-in-cheek in some of the parts of it. And then he wrote with his writing partner, Terminal Hitman, and it's somewhat of a comedy. So that's very interesting. Are you back, Jeff?
I'm back. Yeah, we've been experiencing some internet issues.
Oh, we moved to the desert of California, and we have Spectrum for our internet, and it goes out all the time. We have it for our Roku TV. It goes out. It's really bad. So yeah. I feel blessed every time I can get through an entire podcast without the internet going out.
Yeah, I heard the last part of your question, and yes, you can use whichever song you'd like to use.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. We'll just use part of it, and we'll give you a plug for that, and I truly appreciate it. So that will be a great thing, I think, coming up to election, to have a patriotic song on our site and help you out with it and all of that. So I want everybody to know, where exactly can they get the album and the different songs?
Sure, it's pretty much on every digital platform right now, on iTunes and Spotify, Amazon, Apple.
Right.
You can also, we have a little site set up on Bandcamp, which is Patriot Nation.
Bandcamp?
Yeah, it's a little site. The reason I was using that one is because it has the lyrics there, and people can look at the lyrics, and I'll send you a link that you can use later.
So it has the lyrics and I can sing along with it?
I try not to sing along with it.
Well, I should try not to sing along with it too.
It's got it's got the lyrics. It's actually patriotnation.bandcamp.com. So if they go to that, it should bring up the album. It's got everything there, but it can be found, if people prefer to stream it and listen to it, on Pandora or Amazon, or it's pretty much everywhere. So
great.
There's a bonus song on every Bandcamp. It's not on Bandcamp, but on the other release, there's a bonus song called DJT In for the Win, and it's our little tribute to Trump, and how he's going to win in November. So
that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, that's been taken down many times on the platforms. They do not like that one.
So that is In for the Win. Let's see. What is it?
DJT, Donald J. Trump, DJT In for the Win.
DJT In for the Win.
Yeah, and what's interesting, what I like about this music is that we try to write in different genres, because America loves music in different genres. Everybody.
Absolutely.
We got country, we got folk, we got hip hop, we got a little bit of reggae style. A few different styles in there. So I think that the music would appeal to anybody. They'll find something that they may like.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I was going to say something and I forgot what I was going to say, but that happens a lot now. Not as bad as Biden, but so, well, I don't know. Now, what do your other contributors to the album do in their real life?
So Charles is retired from the California Highway Patrol. And he got into playing cornhole. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
The beanbag game. And he plays in a lot of police events, and he's actually won like 6 gold medals. He's like one of the top in California, one of the top solo players. He's pretty good at it.
Well, we better bring him on with you so he can talk about the cornhole championships.
Yeah, so he's really enjoying writing. We're doing a follow-up to the Terminal Hitman.
Good.
And it actually has a lot of what's going on in the world now. We were able to create a plot that talks about what's going on now in the world. So it's a little bit, it's a hybrid of a thriller, comedy, political. But hopefully we'll get that out, in the fall sometime. And then Georgie Donovan, she is a Jill of all trades. Yeah, is that the right? She manages a couple of different businesses for the owners, and she manages some Airbnb. She does quite a few different things. She's everywhere. She's very creative and talented, and she's former or she still does a lot of praise and worship activities, and so she's the optimist of the group.
Good. That's good to have somebody be the optimist.
And I love her song. She wrote a song called "America's Battle Cry," and I love that song too. It was definitely a labor of love, and as I said, we never expected it to turn into an album, but now there is an album, and hopefully
I'm so glad there is.
Yeah, hopefully.
Now I just want to put this in with our plug, where to get the music. All of the proceeds from this album go to the artist, so we don't take a cut. I don't know who else would possibly try to take a cut, but we don't, and it all goes to the artist, and it should go to the artist. More of the music that's being sold out there should go to the artist. So I like your shirt.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Where did you get that?
I got hit with an ad for it, probably because I'm looking at all the patriotic stuff, and the ad popped up, and I clicked on it, and oh, they got some cool shirts here, so I ended up.
Yeah, that's a great shirt. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Thank you.
And now you moved up north, I understand.
Yes, I'm back in the SF Bay Area where I grew up.
Where you were before. Yeah, before you moved south.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I know one thing, you're cooler up there than here.
Yeah, it's been a bit hot this week, but I guess the weather's going crazy as well everywhere.
Well, we had 124 degrees, so
Oh.
that's pretty darn hot. So, okay, so are you doing a new album with the songs that you're creating now with the idea in mind that you'll put an album together soon, or will you do some single releases?
So we're kind of doing a few songs that are along the same line. I think you could say that, like we have one called Wake Up World, where it talks about, wake up people, we're 8 billion people, and we're up against, some elites that are trying to control us. So we have some songs like that we're working on, but that may be for the future. We have one I think it's called Blue Collar, about blue collar workers. So we're kind of keeping within the same theme. And then we like to write other songs that have to do with, love and romance and what have you. And so we're kind of all over the place. But for now,
I like this blue collar thought of yours, because the guy who does Dirty Jobs, I can't think of his name. This is something that needs to have more attention drawn to it, because everybody cannot be a CEO of a company. So I really think this needs to be pushed, and everybody doesn't need to go to college and all of this. So that's a great one.
Yeah, we're going to probably release that, a little bit later, just if we can get some momentum with this one. I mean, we had some, if you're going to dream big, right? And so we thought if this did get big, then we can maybe even, work with a charity or something, So those are the, the pie in the sky. It's like, wow, if we had a lot of people, download this, then maybe we could start working with even a veterans charity or something, right? So,
well, I think that would be a really great place to go, but also Tunnel to Towers, I think, would be
that's the one I was thinking of. I just couldn't remember the name. That's the one I was thinking of. Tunnel to Towers.
Yeah. But I think the veterans would be really good too.
Yeah, we have a song for them, and they're called "Heroism Has No Color," which is about, when you're in battle. I mean, it's all races, all creeds, all colors, and you have each other's back.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I think when these young guys went into the service for World War II, and then furthermore into Afghanistan and all, a lot of them came from the South, where they had preconceived notions when they were growing up about race. And I think once they got into the service, they found out we're all the same. And so I think that's something for you to put in your song.
It's there for sure. It's a good song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, I'm so happy you came. You're welcome to come on anytime at all. Anytime you have a new single or a new book or whatever, and you want to bring your pals on, I have room on the screen for 5 people on your side. So if you want to bring in Charlie and Georgie, you can bring them in, and we can do the split screen up here and all of that. And when we play your song, we will put something on the Cryon down here where we can find you and where you can buy the album and stuff.
Yeah,
because
go ahead. Send you some codes if you want to give away a few songs, to your listeners as well.
Oh, that would be so cool. That would be great.
Yeah, I'll give you some. They can download the album for free. So
that's fabulous. Fabulous. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on. I think you're such a wonderful patriot. I love working with you all the time. So that's great. Thank you so much to Melinda Manos, Public Relations, for keeping us connected with Jeff and letting us know what's going on with him. She's the best in the PR department, I'll tell you that. She's been my publicist for a long time of different things. So thank you, Melinda, for connecting us and keeping us up with what's going on. Thank you, Jeff, so much. I really appreciate you being here, and we'll get together over the internet and figure the things out.
Okay, thank you so much, Judith.
Thank you. Okay, so I love that interview. I love talking to him. I'm really a patriot, and he is too. And everybody should become a patriot and love your country. And we're in trouble, so we need you. We need your vote. We need your love, your support. You're saying nice things about our country, how we help others. Did you know that there are more people who volunteer in the United States than any other country? Volunteer meaning helping those that don't have as much as you have and how they are in need. Yep, more people volunteer here in the United States helping people. So let's think about what's going on in our country. Be sure to watch that presser tonight. And I want to also tell you our guest of next week. Yes, we have 2 guests in a row. Excuse me. Let me just grab this here. We have Nancy Muller coming on. Nancy's been on my show before many years ago. But she's coming on because she has a new book. I think she's written about 7 books now. And this one is fiction based on fact. And it has a message to women in it. And I'm not going to tell you exactly what the message is. I'm going to let Nancy talk about it. It's called Secrets in the Attic. It's a woman's journey to empowerment. Nancy Muller, M-U-E-L-L-E-R. It's available on Amazon right now. Why don't you pick up a copy and read it before we have the interview next week? And then if you have any questions, shoot them to Judith Mancini at mac.com, and we'll get them on here. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it. God bless the United States of America. Remember, cherish yesterday, dream tomorrow, and live today. Thank you all.